Yo, everybody, welcome back to the motherfucking Minority Sports Report Wrestling Edition. You already fucking know what day it is. It's fucking Wednesday, but wrestling's not on tonight. Doesn't matter. I'm your boy, Big Black.
Now me boy, Skame Dollar.
Skame motherfucking Dollar.
Yes, sir.
Word up. Nice to have you. Nice to have you on this one. We missed it yesterday, man.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Family obligations, man. Shit sucks when you're
oh, for sure,
not stranded,
for sure.
but when you're dependent on other people for rides. It's a shitty way to live.
You're talking to the king of riding in other people's vehicles, so I.
No, well, that was a long time ago. For me, it's recent. But yeah, so I guess we'll jump right into this shit because it's a hot one over here, and I'm trying to do this before my AC runs out.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So Vice. We'll start off with the TV shows like we've been doing. Vice. I believe their Dark Side of the Ring series is over. I think the Dynamite Kid one was the last episode, the one I talked about last week, because I didn't see any new one this week. But Vice has another series called Vice Versa, where they did a 2-hour, well, with commercials, it was 2 hours, the documentary on China.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so her real name, Joni Marie Lauer, formerly known as China. It's basically, it was like, so apparently, like the ending of her life, like the last few months of her life, they were filming a documentary that they were calling The Resurrection of China. And so there's a lot of like footage and interviews and shit with her, like in those last few months. One of which is tough to watch because she's basically she literally asked for help. But one of the dudes who was part of that doc and who was a part of the Vice documentary came out and said, he was like, listen, I was an addict myself. I was on heroin the day I did this interview. When she asked for help, he literally goes, so how does that make you feel?
Wow.
Yeah. So like he regrets it and shit now because he's like sober and all that shit. But dude, they just got a lot of shit from like the last few months of her life.
Holy shit.
And like I know she had a downward spiral, but the shit that she like went through and all that shit, like it's kind of fucked up.
No, that's crazy.
I didn't know she was in a legitimate relationship with Triple H either. I thought that was all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, that's kind of what started her downward spiral, because she was like legitimately heartbroken over that. But yeah, check that shit out. It was tough to watch, but it was very, very eye opening to see that shit. And also apparently there's footage on the day the guy found her body. Because they showed the footage of him like knocking on the door and like creaking it open, but obviously they didn't show like him going into the bedroom and finding her. But apparently there is footage of that. So,
shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
happy Father's Day.
Out. Yeah, happy Father's Day.
No,
but yeah, check that out.
Man, that's heavy.
It's under the Vice Versa series on Vice TV. So check that out. It's definitely worth a watch if you were into that into the Attitude Era, because she was definitely a big part of that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely there. That's us for sure. Damn, that's hard.
Yeah, and
fucking Vice.
Because of that, fuck WWE and Triple H.
Oh,
and I was a big Triple H guy too, but fuck him.
Yeah, Triple H is. I mean, come on, he's a piece of shit, dude. You don't get in Vince McMahon's good graces by being a fucking good person.
Dude, there's one thing in this doc where he's on Stone Cold's podcast, and he talks about like China and the Hall of Fame, and he's basically like, does her body of work and her career get her into the Hall of Fame? For sure. But he goes in the thing, I don't know what year this is, but at the time he goes, I have an 8-year-old daughter. What happens when I induct China into the Hall of Fame? And she goes, oh, China, let me Google her. And she starts seeing all the porn and shit that she ended up doing and stuff like that. So that's why they're keeping her out of it. And that's another thing that like broke her heart and kept her on that downward spiral. Like it's just so fucked up. Really, really fucked. But yeah, it's worth a watch. Definitely check that shit out. Speaking on the shitty WWE, their biographies, I believe, are done. Like I said last week, I think the Bret Hart one, I think, was the last one.
Excuse me.
But baby lungs over there. But
I'm
their
smoking
most
straight Keith. Oh boy.
their most wanted treasures was still going. I believe this might have been the last one because it was another 2-hour special. Well, hour and a half with commercials and all that bullshit. But it was Ric Flair. So that what they were looking for in this one was basically there was a infamous butterfly robe that he wore the night he won the Royal Rumble and won the champ, because the 92 Royal Rumble, the winner won the vacant championship, and that's the one Ric Flair won.
Damn,
But apparently that was 92. Yeah.
Wow.
Somewhere between somewhere in 95. Ric Flair wore it on a show. I believe it might have been a WCW show. I don't remember. But the robe disappeared. And that's like, if you're a Ric Flair or a WWE collector, that's the fucking holy grail.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away because the amount is insane. And the journey, like I could see why they made this a 2-hour episode. Like the journey they went on for this shit was crazy. But it's definitely, that's a good one to check out. They go into they just go into a lot of dead ends, and then I don't want to give anything away, but check it out.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, so that was Most Wanted Treasures. Like I said, I think that might have been the last one because it was almost 2 hours long, so that might have been like their season finale. But let's jump into some actual wrestling. We had Impact Wrestling on Access. This is was this the first show after? Yeah, this is the first show after their pay-per-view, which I can't even remember what the name is. I think it was Against All Odds.
That was yeah.
All right. But so this is the first one back. This episode kicked off with TJP defeating Black Taurus. Then we had X Division champion Josh Alexander. Then we had X Division champion Josh Alexander not defending his belt. This was a non-title match versus Madman Fulton. Because last week, remember the pay-per-view, they had that X Division like 6-man tag match or whatever. Madman Fulton came in and fucked everybody up, and then got the Canadian Destroyer off the top rope.
Yeah.
So basically, Josh Alexander was like, "All right, if you want to try to get into the X Division, you got to beat me, and then you can earn a shot." I guess that didn't happen because Josh Alexander won. So he beat Madman Fulton in that non-title match. Next up, we had Steve Maclin, formerly known as Steve Cutler. He was part of the WWE. He was part of those roster cuts in February of this year. So he made his Impact debut as Steve Maclin, defeating Jason Page.
Not related to Bob Backlund. No, sir.
No, Maclin.
I know. I'm just being stupid.
Next up, we had Tenille Dashwood taking on Rachel Ellering. Before this one started, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering kind of got into their beef, continuing that storyline with the rift in between their little tag team friendship. Then she came out and took the L to Tenille Dashwood, who's been on a hell of a winning streak herself. So that's good for her there.
Good.
Next up, we had New Japan legend Satoshi Kojima coming back to Impact for another match. This one was versus Rhino, one half of the Impact Tag Team Champions, with the stipulation that if Kojima won, him and Eddie Edwards would get a title shot at Slammiversary.
Really?
Yep, and that is what's happening because Kojima beat Rhino in that match.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it will now be Rhino and Diener defending their belts against Kojima and Eddie Edwards.
Fucking nice.
Yeah. And then what everybody wanted to see after the pay-per-view, I don't know if you remember, where Sami Callihan got fired by Don Callis because he attacked Kenny Omega after the match with Moose. So basically what happened here, Sami Callihan came out, called out Don Callis and Kenny Omega. So obviously he was pissed about what happened. They never showed up. The executive vice president, Scott D'Amore, the Impact EVP, Scott D'Amore, came out, basically told Callihan, like, listen, you're giving Callis exactly what he wants. You're proving his point that you're like this crazy wild man that shouldn't be part of the roster. This, and that. That's what like you basically like, you're doing exactly what you need to do to get fired. So like stop doing this shit. And Callahan kind of was like, all right, I see your point. Did his little bit where he just disappears, kind of like the Undertaker. The lights go out and he's gone. But after that happened, Callis came out, started talking shit to Scott D'Amore, basically saying like, yeah, see, this wild man's here. You can't trust him. He's a wild card, loose cannon, all this bullshit. And as they're like arguing with each other, Tommy Dreamer comes out. Apparently, somebody told Scott D'Amore that one of the Anthem executives, I guess Anthem is the company that owns Impact.
Okay.
They were sending somebody to kind of figure out what was going to happen with all this bullshit. So Tommy Dreamer comes out and is like, I'm the person that the exec sent. They told me to come here and reinstate Sami Callihan. So he is back in Impact. He will be facing Kenny Omega at Slammiversary. And then went on to fire Don Callis from the executive vice president role. But this is just storyline because he's been out of that role for Impact for quite a while, for a few months now.
Right.
And this is just basically them like writing him off as EVP on TV.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because he's been riding with Omega everywhere.
Hard, yeah. He's basically been in AEW more than he's been in Impact. But yeah, so that's how that ended there. And him and Callahan kind of got into it at the end of Impact, like after all that shit. But Callahan just basically said like, I'm gonna fuck up Kenny Omega and you're gonna watch. That's basically what he said. But yeah, so that was Impact Wrestling. I don't remember when Slammiversary is, but I know it's coming up in July. So we'll be reporting on that soon. But yeah, that was Impact. And
Impact.
Jump into some New Japan. They're still on the Kazuna Road 2021 for the Japanese side. Again, this is the one where it's just basically like a house show tour. There's no event afterward. So there's no Kazuna event like there normally is. Their next event is Dominion, which there's going to be another lead-up tour to that. But that is still a couple of weeks away.
Excuse me.
And I believe those two title matches that I talked about last week, they're happening Wednesday and Thursday of this week, I believe it is. So I will report on those next week.
Yeah.
But New Japan Strong on the US side, they're doing their Road to Ignition, which isn't that like an R. Kelly song or some shit? Oh, it's the remix to Ignition.
Ignition is the name of the song, yeah.
Road to Ignition. I was like, why does that sound familiar every time I say it? But yeah, so,
that was great.
This one we had Impact Wrestling's X Division champ Josh Alexander, Canadian Kurt Angle, my man, making his New Japan debut. No belt. He didn't have his X Division belt with him. Came out there, but he faced another like amateur wrestling specialist, Alex Coughlin. So this is like a very technical, like straight up technical wrestling match. Great match. Josh Alexander picked up the win in his New Japan debut.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we had Bateman and Barrett Brown defeating the team of Adrian Quest and Fred Rosser. And then in the main event, New Japan legend Satoshi Kojima, who was also on Impact, defeated JR Kratos in singles competition in New Japan.
Hi.
So yeah, that was New Japan Strong.
Hell yeah, New Japan.
Now, jumping into AEW.
You already know it was reaching.
Yeah. Speaking of reaching for the belt, I don't know if you've seen, AEW posted something on Instagram, was like a super close-up of the belt. So there is, a lot of people are speculating that it was the announcement of the new Trios Championship, but then they announced the replica belts. So they're not sure, but there's always been the highly rumored Trios Championship was promised to come at some point.
It was
Tony Khan.
Yeah.
I just don't know when that is exactly going to happen. But
yeah, I saw the promo while we were watching Dynamite. I saw them pop up. It was like, get your replica belts at Shop AEW soon. I was like, oh fuck.
yeah,
This thing just might literally be just like gone. Yeah, just gone.
And that might be a real heavy one around you.
And I have a real heavy one, which I will not be disrespecting and treating like a madman because that shit hurts. Like this shit kind of hurts sometimes, but it's plastic, so whatever. I can take the steel plastic, but actual steel, no, dog.
Yeah. So, check that out. I'm not sure how much those belts are going to go for, but they're usually a couple $100.
That's what I was thinking too.
But definitely the prettiest belt in wrestling right now, I think.
Easily.
But jumping into Dynamite, we had another Friday night edition. This coming week, like Black said, no wrestling on Wednesday because Dynamite is going to be Saturday night this week.
Yeah.
But last week's Dynamite kicked off with an MMA cage fight between Jake Hager and Wardlow. In a legitimate MMA cage, which I was surprised about. I thought they were going to just put a cage around the ring with like no ropes or some shit.
Yeah.
But they legit had a 6-sided cage. I mean, they didn't have like, they said it was sanctioned. I don't know if that was like storyline sanctioned or what the case was because the ref was Aubrey Edwards. There were no judges. So like, I don't know how sanctioned it actually was.
Right.
But they tried to pull it off as a legitimate cage match. They had the fucking people checking them and Vaseline in their face and shit before they stepped in the cage, all that shit. But it was an interesting one. You could definitely tell it was pro wrestling MMA cage fight. Wardlow he's definitely a great wrestler and good athlete and all that shit, but you could definitely tell he wasn't an MMA fighter.
Oh yeah.
It was a little sloppy out there. But the one thing sloppy in the MMA sense, like
for sure.
Yeah, you could tell he doesn't have that any kind of like proper MMA training like
technique. There's no technique there.
But it was an interesting, entertaining match. There was a Huracan Rana at one point, which I told Black when we were watching the show, I want to see a Huracan Rana in the UFC now.
Yeah,
I will not be happy until someone pulls off a Huracan Rana in fucking UFC. But yeah, so Jake Hager got the win in this one. He ended up choking out Wardlow with the arm triangle. I was really thinking in this one that somebody was going to get put through one of the cage walls.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, look at these two giant dudes putting each other through the thing. But yeah, that never happened.
That would have been two wrestling, It
would have been two wrestling, but I mean, we were watching wrestling.
Exactly, I know. So I don't disagree. Like I said, they want to keep that sanctioned shit going. So you can't really put a nigga through a cage.
But yeah, like I said, it was an interesting one. It was definitely entertaining to see the MMA world jumping into the wrestling world with Hager there. That was pretty cool. I wonder if they're going to do some more of these.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to Cortez about that shit, but I forgot to ask him about it yesterday. But yeah, it was weird, man. Like, it was weird. Like, I don't want to say it was bad, but I also can't say, for me personally, I also can't say that it was like good. It was just, it exists as its own thing. And if they do it again, I'm sure it'll be a lot better, or at least with someone who has a lot more MMA background. Or
I think if they did it the cinematic route, like that Darby Allin Sting fucking whatever that crazy ass match was, I believe it might have helped Wardlow look a little better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't a huge win, but it wasn't the cage match explosion. You know what I mean? It wasn't the total disaster.
No, it wasn't the zombie match. It wasn't none of that shit. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's 100%. It wasn't the fucking exploding death match.
That's why I said cage match. Yeah, the exploding death match.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't that shit at all. But honestly, I know what you meant. I didn't even realize you said that until you corrected yourself.
But yeah, I mean, it was still pretty damn interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been better suited as at least in Wardlow's case,
Oh yeah,
Unless
for
it was
sure.
like if it were both MMA trained, it might be able to make it look a little better. But for Wardlow's sake, I think it would have paid off a little better if it was more cinematic for him.
Yeah, because Jake can fake it because he knows how to do it for real. You know,
and like you said, yeah, you could see it was like he really wanted to, like just the technique and the muscle memory kicks in. It's like, oh shit, I can't really hit this.
Right?
Dude.
Yeah, you would see him like if you know fighting, you would see him like slow down, like oh shit, I can't really do this right now.
Yeah,
that's why it was really interesting to watch for me. But
because that muscle memory shit for those MMA fighters, I mean, the reaction time is so short. Like you just have to kind of go off just natural reaction and fucking yeah. It just kind of you just kind of have to be in like autopilot in those situations. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting one.
Yeah.
Next up, we had a handicap match. This is Darby Allin. He was answering the challenge from Scorpio Sky, where basically pick any partner other than Sting, see if you can beat us. Darby's like, fuck that, I'll beat you by myself. But he didn't. Men of the Year, which is the team of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, got the win over Darby Allin. I mean, he had a couple opportunities. He was close.
He did.
I mean, he was in a fucking handicap match, and he's not like a giant dude.
Right.
So he held his own for the most part.
He's no Brian Cage.
No, but yeah. So interesting to see where that's going to lead for this little rivalry between these four guys.
Yeah, it was a good match.
It was
like it wasn't like I don't know, man. Usually handicap matches are boring as fuck to watch.
Mm-hmm.
At least traditionally. Like when I was a kid, I hated handicap matches unless I was playing in the game, you know, and I was like fucking somebody up with somebody else. But yeah, this shit, it was like they gave Darby enough. Like he pushed himself to his limit. You know, like you could see that during the match, or at least that was the story they were trying to convey. And you could see that Men of the Year were getting frustrated and having to put in a little bit more effort than they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think that was really, really clever in how everybody's walking away with their character still intact, which is hard to do.
Yeah, they definitely sold it. Like, damn, how like we thought this was going to be a little easier. Like they definitely sold it that they were struggling to get the win over Darby.
Yeah,
but yeah, great match. Always a good match with those three dudes.
Yeah.
But next up, we had Orange Cassidy taking on and defeating Cesar Bononi.
Big ass Cesar Bononi.
Yeah, I don't remember much of this match other than Orange Cassidy like orange punching the shit out of a bunch of people.
Yeah, that was
like
how
three
it
people,
finished.
like yeah, because Cesar Bononi's that squad with
Pretty Peter Avalon and fucking Nemeth. What is
Nemeth and that other guy with the beard. Yeah, he basically orange punched everybody on that squad and picked up the win.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, we had a tag team of Cody Rhodes and the debut of Brock Anderson.
That's right.
Anderson.
That's right.
They took on and defeated the team of QT Marshall and Aaron Solo.
Aaron Solo.
Yep. This was a decent match, especially for someone who's making their debut. Not sure how long he's been training in wrestling or anything like that. But he seemed to hold his own.
Yeah. It was. We'll see where it goes. Again, it wasn't fucking terrible, which is always the plus. And it wasn't the greatest thing ever. We'll give it some time.
Yeah,
we'll give it some time.
Yeah, this is something that's like I mean, like I said, I don't know much about this dude, but it kind of seems like he kind of wanted to join the family business later in life. Yeah,
that's kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it seems like he's very new into training or taking any kind of wrestling training. But like you said, not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Good debut for him.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, we had Penelope Ford, who we haven't seen in a while in singles match. Well, in any kind of action other than fucking coming out with her husband, who's also been off TV for a while because he's injured. But she took on and defeated Julia Hart of the Varsity Blondes.
Yeah, Varsity Blondes. I I really love all the women in AEW. Genuinely, but some of them are just like a little bit more than others, and I always forget about them. And then it's like, bam! I was like, oh my god, yeah, I forgot. She's a great wrestler, and she's fucking gorgeous. You know, it's like, oh man, like let's go. But yeah, good match, good showing.
Yeah.
Welcome back
match
to the party.
And then in the main event, we had a 6-man tag team match. This was Penta El Cero Miedo, Eddie Kingston, and the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian, taking on the team of...
I love his new character.
Yeah. Taking on the team of Matt Jackson, of the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers. And unfortunately, Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers got the win over... Well, I was gonna say Death Triangle, but that's not them. Of Penta, Eddie Kingston, and Kazarian. But yeah, great match in this one. But Matt Jackson, was it Jackson that got the win? Yeah, he snuck the win after Nick interfered with he sprayed the cold spray in somebody's face. I forgot who it was, and Matt was able to roll him up for the win.
Fucking cheating. I love
it.
I love
cheating Bucks.
Cheating Bucks still look like schmucks. But
cheating ass schmuck Bucks.
Yeah, man. Fuck them. Fantastic wrestlers, man. But god damn, their outfits drive me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just they're just.
I think that's what's great about them being heels is like the way just makes it so much.
No, it's
so much easier to hate them.
It's great, man. Like, cause I legitimately I play into that shit so hard, bro, and it's great, and that's why I bring it up every time we record. Like I always say, fantastic wrestlers, but fuck, I hate their goddamn outfits. Blah 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 blah. Blah. But yeah,
it's those fucking headbands.
Yeah, those goddamn headbands, man. Yeah,
you don't need dangling shit off your headband.
Got all those fucking tassels and shit.
I was wondering what you were doing. I was, oh yeah, that little head bob shit that they do.
But yeah, it works, man, because we're talking about them. So
yep, that's for sure.
That's for damn sure. And this is for sure. We're done, right?
Yeah. Well, other than fuck Hell in the Cell.
Oh, that happened this weekend, right?
Yeah, and I think there was only 2 Hell in the Cell matches.
What?
Yeah. I believe only the 2 championship title matches were Hell in the Cells. I think everything else was just a regular match.
I mean, at least the title matches were Hell in the Cell, but that's, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, think about it back when Hell in the Cell first started. Hell in the Cell always was just like the one match. It wasn't like every match in the pay-per-view was a Hell in the Cell. No,
like you're 100%. You're 100%. You're 100% right. And because those matches, at least when we were growing up watching that shit, those matches were so great that it didn't matter what the fuck you saw before, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't fucking matter.
But, I mean, I don't know. Nothing is going to top Mankind, Undertaker, Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
One, because Vince McMahon will never let anybody get thrown off the top of the cell. Never again. Never. Because in every interview Mick Foley does about that thing, he always says, when I got backstage, Vince came up to me and was like, I appreciate everything you've done for this company, but never do that shit again. So so I will never see any kind of craziness like that ever again. And I don't know how you can top that Hell in the Cell ever again.
You can't. That was unique, and it exists where it did. And you said it the other week, like it was just the right time for us, the right age. Just everything just happened to be just like there. You know what I mean?
The perfect storm.
Yeah, the perfect storm, man. Like it's
But wow. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I had it on. It wasn't my main focus.
I don't give a fuck.
Like I got home.
You're not punished for watching WWE.
by the time I got home, I only seen the what's his name? The Scottish dude, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And fucking Bobby Lashley. That was the only one that I seen. I had it on my phone, kind of in front of me while I was watching the TV behind it. So I was kind of peeking just to see the shit that they were doing. And it wasn't nothing crazy. Like they the one thing that Bobby Lashley had the stairs. No, Drew McIntyre had the stairs like he was going to hit Lashley with it. Lashley like pushed back and pushed him up against the cage with the stairs to the face.
Mm-hmm.
But it was this part of the stairs that goes right into the ring post, so his head fit perfectly in. It's like, dude, you didn't even touch him. Like, what kind of bullshit is that?
Before you even described it, I already knew that was happening.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not eight. I know that. I was like, I'm not 8. I know he didn't fucking get hit in the face with that shit.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. That's what happens when you go PG, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I heard they're supposed to be changing, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
No, from what I've saw over the last few months, like it's like fucking network mandated that they get fucking mature, like, and real soon. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. So we'll see what happens, man. It's not the maturity level, man. It's the product. It's you can make it mature, but it's still going to be tacky because you still got the same people making the shit, you know? So
yeah, that's true. That is very true. Bring Vince Russo back.
Yeah, for real. Like, as much as people hate Vince Russo,
no, don't do that. He did a lot of terrible shit.
No, he did do a lot of terrible shit, man. But like, his finger was on the pulse of that time.
Yeah,
and you
can't, under the not the guidance, but under the what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it right now.
It's all good.
Fuck it. Under the guidance of Vince McMahon, he did good. But when he gets free reign to do shit, it's so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing that I appreciated about him was he had his fucking finger on the pulse, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he had his finger on the pulse. And a lot of shit was awful. A lot of shit did not age well. But that's from that time period. Like, a lot of that shit doesn't age well, you know? It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Look at the Godfather.
Yeah,
you
bro.
Do that now.
You can't do that shit now.
Can't do that shit now.
Nope. They chopped off Val Venus' dick.
Yeah, you can't get away with gold dust anymore.
Yeah, for real. Like
I don't know if did you end up watching that Vice Dark Side of the Ring on Brian Pillman?
Nah, not yet.
Do you remember when fucking Stone Cold did the home invasion on Brian Pillman?
No.
And Brian Pillman pulled the gun on him?
No.
You can't do that shit anymore.
Yo, I have to watch that shit because I know when I watch it, I know for a fact that I've seen that, but it's just been so goddamn long.
Yeah, it was like Pillman was legitimately injured, so they did this angle where like they were interviewing he was legitimately injured, and then Stone Cold injured him in the ring. Then they did this thing where he was like pissed off at home doing an interview talking about Stone Cold. So he was like, I'm gonna come to your house and fuck you up. And he shows up and he starts trying to bust in the door. Brian Pillman pulls a gun. Then everything goes black and you hear a gunshot. It was like, yo, it was fucking nuts. But yeah, you can't get away with shit like that.
Yo, the mid 90s, early 2000s, fucking wild, bro. Fucking wild.
The glory days of wrestling for us.
Oh my god. Yeah. For real. And I just want to say, I know it's getting hot where you're at. I just want to say, like, yes, I'm talking with nostalgia, you know, but also this is factual. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit that we saw on television when we were growing up, no generation ever has experienced that shit because TV was new and maturing when our parents were fucking growing up. And then we were born and we started coming of age. We had MTV and all that shit, but nobody really knew the power of TV for real. And just like the wild shit you can get away with. And man, that shit was insane. You can't, that shit on the shit that like you see in shows now, like Shameless and all that crazy shit, like wild shit like that. That shit was on like daytime TV, you know, like that's, you know, not the curse words and stuff, but the situations, man. So like it was wild back then, man. The fucking Wild West on television. Holy shit.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, you can get all that shit on the internet now, but like that shit was on TV. Like everybody saw that shit. because everybody had the same channels.
Yeah. And at that time there was only like 50 fucking channels unless you paid for the crazy package.
For real, man. Like everybody saw the same shit, so you were talking about that shit at school the next day or at fucking work, you know? Like, man.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But yeah, thank you for letting us go on that tangent. We are the motherfucking Minority Sports Report. You can follow us all collectively at TMS Report. But again, this podcast specifically is TMSR Wrestling Edition. Make sure you fucking...
You said it wrong. You said wrestling. It's wrestling.
I know. I'm kind of drunk. These beers are strong as fuck, bro. And I don't drink. I literally... The only time you see me drinking... This is the only time I drink is when I'm doing these podcasts. So I be getting smashed off these fucking 6 and 8% beers, yo. Smashed. Oh boy. But TMSR Wrestling Edition, motherfuckers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button underneath this video. And then also make sure you hit that bell icon. Skate, where can they follow you, brother?
Follow me to hell. No, follow me at Skate666.
Follow him to hell. It's good to have you back. Julian was the satellite of love. Now we're back from the fucking place of whatever the shit you call it, the arcade of hate.
Arcade of hate. Good.
We got the yin and the yang, and I'm like the
hell quarters ready.
The supervisor of all the bullshit. No, sir. Just kidding. Follow me. I'm at the Beatnik, and thank you guys so much for fucking with us. We'll be back next week. Peace.